street is turning all day when they see you with me. I'm thinking everybody better stand in line, 'cause they need to know that somebody's coming with me tonight. They're like, hey, who that there with the shades? Like, oh, we'll move to the base. Hold up, whole room gets to spin from the circuit that you walk in. And baby, you look good all day, all night. You look good, so fresh, so fine. You look good, got everybody watching you like cameras in Hollywood. Baby, you look good. Oh, baby, you look good.
Alright, hello, that's Lady Antebellum, intro music. Alright, so today I'm going to teach you guys about solving systems of equations by substitution. I wrote down some steps that I think you should write down, and these are the steps that I think that will help you to solve these. Alright, so the first thing we usually do is we get x or y alone. Second thing we do is substitute what x or y equals into the other equation, use parentheses. The third step is to solve the equation, and then fourth step is substitute your answer in for x or y and solve for the other variable. And then the fifth step is to check your answer. So you should write those down. And while you're doing that, I'm going to move slightly. Okay. All right. So let me go over my first problem. You have the wonderful ability to hit pause there if you needed to write that down more. All right. And here's the first problem. I'm going to jump right in. Number one, I got two equations, and this is one of the more straightforward kind. So when they say system, that means, you know, more than one. In this case, it's always going to be two for you guys until you get to algebra 2. So I got negative 4x minus 2 and y equals x plus 3. So the thing I'm going to do is I need to start by looking to see if I have x equals or y equals. You have to have one of those two things to start. If you don't, then you got to manipulate the equation to get it that way. Now, I have that. Both of them, in fact, have that. So this is one of the nice easier kind of, because I can simply take the x plus 3. That's what y equals. So I can plug it into that y in the other equation, which is really step 2 in your steps. So if I take that x plus 3, and the rest of it stays the same, I got the equals negative 4x minus 2. Now, that's an equation I can solve. You know, it's a pretty straightforward kind of equation. You guys have been doing these all year. So I'm going to start by bringing my x's to one side. I'll add 4x to both sides, which gives me 5x plus 3. Those cancel. I have negative 2 left on the right. Now I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides, and I get 5x equals negative 3. Sorry, negative 5. And divide by 5 and get my answer of x equals negative 1. Okay, so I got one answer. Now, I need to know what y is also. So here's where I'm going to take that answer and plug it back in. You can pick either equation. Usually I pick the one that's easier. I'm going to take that y equals x plus 3 one. Okay. And in there, I'm going to plug the negative 1 in for x. So I got negative 1 plus 3 equals y. Therefore, y equals 2. Now, sometimes you'll see this written as coordinates. It is coordinates. Negative 1, 2 is my answer. Now, you got to check your answer. All right, so you want to take it and plug it back into the two original equations, y equals x plus 3 and 4x minus 2. I'm sure I wrote that one down. Yeah, it's a negative 4x. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to plug both the values in here. I'm going to take the x and the y, plug them in. So when I plug in the y equals 2 over here, x equals negative 1, so I got 2 here and negative 1. The rest of this stays the same. So I get, this is the check, portion, check. I get 2 equals 2, check. Over here I get -4 times -1 is +4 minus 2 equals 2, 2 equals 2, check. All right, so we got the right answer. Has to work in both equations, otherwise you made a mistake somewhere. Okay, so that was the first one, straightforward kind. Now I'm on to number 2. And number 2 is x minus y equals -1, and 6x plus 2y equals 10. All right, so if I start, I have to have x equals or y equals. In this one, I don't have either of those, so I need to manipulate one of my equations. I'm going to take that top one because it looks easier to work with. I got a solo x and a solo y, so that'll make it easier. If I try to isolate this y over here, sooner or later I'm going to have to divide by 2. It's just going to be more work, so I usually try to go after that one that's a regular x or a regular y. So if I take this and suppose I just add y to both sides, I'll get excuse me, x alone. So I got x equals -1 plus y. Okay, now I've got that. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to plug it in to the other equation for x, because that's what x equals. Now, you have to use parentheses around that. And we didn't in the first one because everything was on one side of the equal sign. But this one, it's got this 6 up here, which is, I'm going to have to do distributive property with it. Okay. All right, now the rest of this stays the same. Change that 6 to the black one. So it looks like the original equation. Okay, so now I've substituted my value in. Now I'm going to do the distributive property, solve the equation basically. You all know how to do this. It's -1 times 6 is -6. 6 times y is 6y. 2y, 10. So 6y plus 2y is 8y. Plus -6 equals 10, and then I can add 6. Go over here for a minute, run out of space. So I get 8y equals 16. This is working out nicely. It looks like whole numbers. Sometimes you get decimals, but it's nice when you don't. Y equals 2. All right, so I got my first answer. Now remember, I have to get 2 answers. So you pick either of the equations. Pick the one that looks easier. Top one looks easier to me. And I'm going to take that -2 and I'm going to plug it in. For y. All right, so plug that in. So I got x minus -2 equals -1. So double negative in the middle, that's x plus 2 equals -1. Subtract 2 from both sides, and I'll get x equals -3. Did I make a mistake somewhere? Oh, it should have been +2. I switched it to a negative in there. I don't know why. Boop. So that means, sorry about that. Correct this. This should have been x minus 2, which means I'm going to add 2 to both sides, and I get 1. Okay, so my answer is 1, 2. X equals 1, y equals 2. Now I'm going to check it, all right? I'm going to check it in that second equation here. 6x plus 2y equals 10. I got 6 times x is 1. 2 times y is 2. So that better come out to be 10. Otherwise, I made a mistake and I need to go check my work. 6 plus 4. 10 equals 10. Check. Okay. All right, and that's number 2. Number 3, why don't you try this one? All right, so I got y equals 2x plus 1 and 2y plus 2x equals 8. Okay, you try that. Hit pause, see if you can do it. Feel free to look back at the steps. Maybe those will help you. And then come back when you're done. Okay, welcome back. So, first thing, do I have x alone or y alone? Yes, I have y alone, which is nice. I can take that and I'll plug it in for the y. So I got 2. You know, one way I was taught to do it was when you're doing the substitution, write the equation except where that y is, the variable that you're substituting in. Just put big blank parentheses. And then in the parentheses goes what the thing you're substituting in for. In this case, it would be the 2x plus 1. Okay? And then that's really the hard part, I think. If you can come up with this, I'm sure you all can solve this. 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times 1 is 2. Equals 8. And next I can combine like terms. 2x plus 4x are on the same side of the equal sign, so I just add them together. And I get 6x plus 2 equals 8 minus 2. I get 6x equals 6 divided by 6. Get my first answer. X equals 1. Okay, I need the second answer now. Take one of the two original equations, whichever one looks easier. I'm looking at that top one. I think 2x plus y equals 2x plus 1. Looks easier than the bottom one. So that means put in the 1 for the x. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. So y equals 3, x equals 1. I'm going to go check it. I'm going to check in the second equation here, the 2y plus 2x equals 8. So I got 2. Plug in my answers. X is 1. Y is 3. And see what we get. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. Check. 6 plus 2 is 8. I got the right answers. I always check in at least one equation. Really should check in both. But I'm just going to check in one. I already did these problems out too. I know I got the right answer. All right, that was number 3. Number 4. Y equals 2x minus 10, and 2y equals x minus 8. Okay, this one. Let's see. To start, do I have x equals or y equals? Yes, I have y equals right here. So I can start by plugging this in for y and in that parentheses. So I'm going to take the 2 where the y was, put big blank parentheses, everything else stays the same. In the parentheses goes the 2x minus 10, and now I solve it. Distributive property, 2 times 2x is 4x, 2 times 10 is 20, equals x minus 8. Okay. Subtract x from both sides, bring my x's to one side. 4x minus 1x is 3x minus 20 equals 8. Oh, I made a mistake. That was a negative 8. Remember that subtraction sign there stays with the 8, not with the x. All right, so now I'm going to add 20, and I'll get 3x equals 12. And divide by 3 and get my first answer, x equals 4. All right, now I got to take one of my two original equations. Either one is fine. I think that y equals 2x minus 10 looks good. And now I can plug in that x equals 4. And 2 times 4 is 8. 8 minus 10 will give me my second answer of -2. So my answer is 4, -2. You can leave your answer like this with both of them circled if you like, or you can do it as coordinates. Either one is fine, okay? I'm going to check this in at least one equation. If I take y equals 2x minus 10, plug in -2 for y and 4 for x, I get -2 is 8 minus 10. 8 minus 10 is -2 equals -2. Check, and I'm good. All right. It's a nice thing to be able to check your answers. You know, how many times have you taken a test and been like, God, I wish I knew if I got that answer right? Well, here's your opportunity. Go plug those in. And that is how we solve systems of equations by substitution. So now you've learned 2 ways. The first way was graphing. Now you've learned substitution. There's a third way I'm going to show you in a little while called elimination. It's coming up soon. But right now I'd like you to practice the substitution, get good at that. And that's all I got for today. Thank you very much for watching.